Hi, scrolling along with Susan here. I have a new project I'd like to share with you. This is making pine frames. A lot of times when you have artwork or your scroll saw project, which I do, that's an odd shape, you can't find a frame that will fit it. So why not just make your own? So here we go. This is my most recent project that I made on my scroll saw. It is a griffin cut out of 1/4 inch Baltic birch plywood. It measures 19.5 by 15 inches. It's a very difficult piece to find a frame for, and as you can see, it really does need a frame. So I'm going to be making a frame out of pine, and it's going to have an 1/8 inch backing on it as well. So this is my very large pine board. I think it's 8 feet long that I'm going to be using to make my frame for the griffin. It measures approximately 5.5 inches wide, so I'll probably make the border or the frame maybe about 1 inch thick on all sides. It is 19.5 inches long, so to give myself a little extra room on this, I probably will use a 24-inch piece. So I will cut this 2 feet long, and I'll be using my compound miter saw to cut it 2 feet. Then I will take it over to my jointer to make sure one end is completely flattened before then taking it over to my table saw to cut it into pieces. So I've measured 2 feet out, placed it on my compound miter saw. Now I'll be cutting out the 2 foot length. The ends of this board are very smooth, so I doubt that I will have to put them on the jointer before I take it over to the table saw and start cutting the pieces. Now I'm ready to cut 1-inch pieces for my frame. And I have my unit set for 1 inches already, and I've raised the blade to the proper height for me. The first thing I want to do is audition, meaning I want to test and make sure I know where my hands are going to be this whole time. Yep, that'll work out pretty well. I wear glasses, so I have eye protection, and I have earplugs in to help with the noise of the table saw. So here we go. What I am doing here is cutting one of the boards and then going around to the other side of the saw and picking it up off the ground and coming back and cutting the next one and the next one. It's safer to let the board go all the way to the ground and pick it up than to try to keep it on the table saw where you could have kickback. Okay, I have my 4 pieces cut out of pine, and it's time to kind of audition them and see what they look like. Actually, I think pine is kind of pretty. And these are plenty long enough, and I think those will be just fine. I'm actually going to do mitered corners, so you can see how I do that. And I'll need at least, I think probably I'll go with a 1/2 inch depth on this so that the actual piece will sink into the frame. I have my 4 pieces of pine cut for my frame, and I've marked on the back the direction I want the inside of the frame to go close to the picture, and also marking from the front to the back so I know which side is the good side. Now I'm ready to start cutting it on my chop saw, miter saw. As you may have guessed, I am not a professional woodworker. I have learned a lot by trial and error, made a lot of mistakes, and that's how I get better. One of the things that I've learned is to never trust an exact 45-degree angle, as well as an exact 90-degree angle. Always check it for accuracy. So I'm going to change my miter saw where it says 45 degrees set it at that temporarily and double check the blade for accuracy. Sometimes you have to wiggle it a little bit to the right, to the left, to adjust it perfect. Because when making those angles, you want them to be exact. Now I'm ready to cut one side. I'll be taking off as little as possible, so if I make mistakes on the other side, I have room to correct.